and we are back with another episode of Pessimistic at Best, the podcast. I am your host, Samantha Georgeson, and I have my amazing friend, Mikey, here with me today. Hey, Mikey.
Hi, guys.
We're having a great night. I invited Mikey over. We've had some wine and cheese. We've just been hanging out. It's going to be so sweet.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
And I'm so glad you're here. And it's so fun because I feel like, I don't know, I'd be seeing you like way more if it weren't for coronavirus.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah. But we're here and we're doing it and I'm very excited. And I don't know, Mikey and I have been friends for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, like 5 years now, actually.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Well, and it's funny because I was the other day before we like were set to do this, I was just thinking about how we met because really like I like don't even fully remember the situation. So I lived with those girls and you were like our stand-in roommate for Brittany.
Yeah, it was like in such a weird way too because I was friends with Kylie and I was living in this apartment by myself because I was graduating like halfway through the year.
That's right.
And then it flooded.
Oh my God, that's right.
And I had nowhere to live. And I remember texting like literally everyone I knew. And I knew that Kylie didn't have a roommate. And she was like, yeah, I mean, you can stay in my room, but like I have 3 other roommates. And I knew Lauren.
Yeah.
But I didn't know you and Kayla.
That is so funny. I actually, because you were living in Saxony. Or
no,
where were you?
What were they called? It was like those really nasty apartments right by Portobello, like right behind the hub.
Oh, yes.
And they were like,
oh, yeah.
Because I started looking so late and I couldn't find any. And then it flooded like 2 weeks.
Completely forgot about that.
Literally 2 weeks after I moved in.
No. Yeah, because I feel like I lived with you like the whole semester.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Wait,
well, no, it was good living with you. It was terrible.
It was fucking horrible being your roommate.
You're the worst.
But yeah, no, I totally forgot about that. Okay, wait, that's actually way funnier than I remember. Because I just remember like, yeah, Brittany wasn't there because of the military or whatever for the first half.
Yeah, and then so I remember texting Kylie and literally being like, I know you have an empty bed. Can I move in with you? And I was like, I know this is a big thing to ask. And of course, Kylie was like, oh my gosh, of course. And I was like, for real? And then the next text she said, I should probably ask my other roommates. And I was like,
that's so like her to not even give us a thought at first and then be like, wait, maybe.
I have to. And then I remember, like, I knew Lauren, but I didn't know you and Kayla. I think I met you guys once, like, outside of State Street Brats when you're all, like, trying to get in. Yeah. And then I, like, was moving in. My mom came up and my sister came up to help me. And I remember you were there.
Wait, I feel like I remember that.
That was, like, the first time I had ever met you. And we were moving my stuff in. And I was like, hey, roommate. Yeah. I'm Mikey. And you were like, hey.
Was I the only one home?
I think you were the only one home.
Yeah, I think so too.
Kylie left my key with you.
Okay.
To give it to me. And then my mom was like, so you don't know the girls you're living with? And I was like, no. And she was like, oh boy.
Yeah, you're in for a treat. We turned out to be great though.
It turned out to be the best move ever.
Well, and that was such a fun, because so I moved out technically the same time you did because you graduated and then I went on study abroad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was a really fun first semester. I remember
so fun.
I think it was like the night, I remember our last night as roommates because we went out and got super drunk and then we were everyone for some reason was in Kayla's bed and I like still have Snapchat videos of me and you like snuggling in her bed for some reason.
All laying in there. Yeah.
In our bunk beds. Yeah.
Your bunkmate.
But that was a good time. That really was. And like, I don't know, we're not as fun as we used to be. But
oh my God. That apartment was so amazing though because literally I say it's when I like friend group jumped.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really know you guys that well before.
Yeah, that's
And now
true.
you guys, like everyone I met from you guys are like my best friends now. So it was like the best decision.
Oh,
it wasn't my decision, but it was the best decision you guys ever made. And I know that Kayla always now says too that she was talking to your guys' friends from like high school, like Zoe and Claire and them, and they were like, so someone else is moving in with you? And Kayla was like, yeah, I don't know, this like Mickey girl or something.
Mickey. Oh, I remembered that. That's so funny.
But it turned out to be so good. And then that semester, I remember coming home from class and I really liked a guy that was in one of my classes and you and James were there. And I had never even met James. And I was like, hey, I'm Mikey. And I just started breaking down because I made such a fool out of myself.
Yes. Oh my God, I remember that. Honestly, clear as day.
Yeah. I actually went to the bathroom before class and then walked in with like toilet paper on my shoe, which is like
yes, dude.
So typical. Like that's like the traditional like
I feel like that's like my go-to story about you.
Oh my gosh.
It just like describes who you are. So
and then I didn't even notice. And he was like looking at me a lot and I was like, damn, I must look good today. And then I realized I had toilet paper on my shoe and I was just done from there. I went home and
had a breakdown because that's
complained to people I barely knew.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, and honestly, still to this day, you're like one of my favorite people to third wheel with me and James. It's just so fun to have you around.
I love being with you and James. Seriously, since that first day when I came back and I was like, you guys, guess what? And James probably thought I was a crazy person. And then from there, I was like, yeah, I'm going to hang out with them.
Yeah, exactly. And we never mind. You're always welcome. And it's funny because that's what we just did tonight. Like, you've been over now for like an hour and a half, and we were just like,
hanging
the three
out.
of us.
Yeah. Just chit-chatting.
Yeah,
we probably should have invited
so
DJ,
good.
but that's okay.
Yeah, all right. Exactly. Honestly, though, and he could have been on the podcast too.
Oh my gosh,
next
that would've
time.
been funny. He would have been so nervous.
It's so funny, honestly, because whenever I do these, like even just like the first time that I sit down and put the mic in my hand, or like when I do my little intro, like I'm nervous.
Do you still get nervous?
Yeah, I do. Not as much. And it's better if I have a person. I get really nervous before I record by myself.
Really?
I don't really know why, but I'm just like sitting there like, oh my God. Like,
Breathing heavily,
like,
starting to sweat.
And I think like having a person that you're having a conversation with, it just comes more naturally. Whereas like I talk a lot by myself, but when it's just me, like I don't pause to take a breath. And then all of a sudden I'm like, like I just need a second.
And it's like the give and take too. Like even if it's not any words from the other person, just like facial expressions or like nodding.
Right. Some kind of like, you know, nonverbal cues. Or
otherwise I'm just like,
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad you're here. And I know I just want to talk to you about so many things because we went through an awesome time of life together. And I'm so glad that you're still here in Madison.
Yeah, we're like the only people left
Literally,
here now.
That's it. It's just us.
It's just us. And it's so weird because it feels like two different cities from when we were in college to now.
Yeah, totally.
Because like I did not frequent the same places that I did when we were in college and stuff like that. But it's also cool because I'm like learning more about other things.
Yeah.
Besides like the downtown bars and stuff like that. And I honestly do love Madison. Like I tried leaving for a little while after I graduated and I like came back literally every weekend from Chicago to hang out at the apartment.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, well, and I feel like too, I mean, because you're like on the west side. So you get to just experience, which for me, like the west side of Madison is like home, like where I grew up.
Right.
But like you probably see it in such a different way than I do.
Yeah, and it's like, it really is like my post-college time over there. And like, because I bought my place over there and stuff like that. Like it feels so grown up to me.
Totally.
But then it's funny because whenever I talk to any of you guys, it's like, you know, all the restaurant where I'm like, have you ever been here? And you're like, oh yeah, we used to go there in high school. And I'm like, okay, great.
Well, because literally, like you're right by my old high school. That's like my old stomping ground.
Like literally down the street. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is so crazy. But also, I mean, it's a great area.
It really is. It's really nice and it's like super convenient. And I love Middleton now too. And like the little downtown, especially with COVID and everything, like not coming downtown Madison a lot. And going over there where it's not as crowded and like to the bars and stuff, it's definitely a different scene, but it's like fun just to
I think so too.
Do something.
And I feel like that area is up and coming too. Like Middleton just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But yeah, I mean, no, it's funny that you say that because even when you say like you bought my place, like I'm still renting and you have had your condo for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, 2 years I think now.
You were always so adult to me. Like even when you first moved in.
That's so funny to me because I'm not.
Well, and okay, I guess like I know that more now, and I don't mean that as an insult.
No, not at all.
But like when you first, because I knew you were like, you were graduating like ahead of us, and just something about all the life choices you've made. Like I was like, she's so responsible and grown up.
And then you met me.
Yeah. But even then, like, I mean, we did plenty of childish things, but like somehow I always felt like you were at almost your next phase of life, like ahead of me.
It's funny because sometimes I feel like now looking back, like I don't regret anything obviously, but I feel like I like rushed through it a little bit, you know?
Sure.
Like it was also like I was really happy to be done with school and stuff, but I do feel like I rushed it.
Because you did literally graduate early, right? Or
yeah, in 2.5 years. So it was like,
yeah, that's crazy.
It was fast to like go through college in that time and like have that experience in that time. And I felt like I was trying to fit so much stuff in there.
I went for 4.5 years.
That's so much more fun.
Yeah.
But it is crazy. And like, it's so funny how it looks from the outside, because there's a lot of people who have said that to me, and then I think about my college years and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was not being an adult. I was not being responsible. But it's just like, I think it's just funny. Like,
how did you like even decide that you wanted to graduate early?
So in high school, I started taking college courses. It really started because I had taken all of the English classes that like my school district offered.
Okay.
And I wanted to take more because I'm a nerd. And my mom looked into it and she was like, well, if the high school doesn't offer these courses, they'll pay for you to take them at like MATC or UW Whitewater, because I grew up really close to Whitewater.
Oh, that's super cool.
And so I started taking college courses then my junior year of high school. And then I graduated high school a semester early, and I studied abroad in Liverpool with my sister, actually, through UW Whitewater. Yeah.
I didn't realize that was even in high school.
Yeah, it was. Well, we were just talking about it, and looking back now, I think I was too young. Like, sure. I think I was like freshly 18, and you can drink over there at 18. Luckily, I had my sister with me, so I didn't die.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But I was really young at that time, and now looking back, I'm like, wow, that was crazy. But
that is crazy.
It was really cool at the time.
Yeah.
Like, it was really cool. And then I just came in at Madison with so many credits. And like, I did take a lot of credits every semester, because then at that point I was like, if I can save all this money, I might as well.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of worked hard to be done early, but
that's, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I knew that you had these experiences, but for some reason, like, you weren't.
The timing sometimes to people, like, people get really confused.
Yeah.
And I get it.
I'm definitely.
It was, when we first, like, wait, you studied? How old are you? But, yeah, it was weird. And the other funny thing, too, that my family always jokes with me about is, like, I'm definitely going to be a Karen when I get older. I probably already am, but I am like one of those people that is like relentlessly persistent. And so when I was in high school studying at Whitewater, I went to the like study abroad office every day, because there's this one girl and her name was Michaela as well. And she was the woman who like got to decide if I could go in the program or not. And they told me like they thought I was too young and it wouldn't be a good experience. And I was like so persistent that I swear she was just like, whatever.
You broke her down and
just get out of my office. You can go if you want.
Hilarious. Okay, that's so funny though, because that's so like you.
Yeah, it really is. And it's like one of those things that we laughed about for so long. And now thinking back, I was like, man, 17-year-old Mikey, she was really getting after it there.
That's so funny. Well, good for you, honestly. That's awesome. That's fucking amazing.
I don't know if that's good.
That's so funny.
Not, but it was fun. Like, it was a really good experience. I was really young, and I do think I was a little too young for it. But
well, because I remember even before I was going to go, because I studied abroad in London.
Yeah.
And Liverpool is one of the places I visited. And we talked about it like the whole time. And I feel like you prepped me pretty well to like actually go and like be in Europe.
Yeah. It was so, honestly, it was so fun. And the other thing, too, is when I left to study abroad, I had never been out of the country before.
Dang.
So it was like,
oh my God, that's so much
what
at
is
once.
the phrase, like baptism by fire or whatever? Like, it was insane.
Were you gone? How long were you gone?
Like
a
6
whole
months.
semester. Yeah. Okay.
And I remember also, like, I think I was also just like so clueless too, because our flights were like really close to each other when we got there. And so my sister and I had to like rush through the Dusseldorf airport. And we finally got to our gate, and like it was after this. Knowing me, you'll think this is hilarious. I like dropped my luggage down the escalator that was going up, so I had to keep running down the up escalator, and my sister was like, stop and go around and like that kind of thing. And then when we finally got to our gate, she just like broke down crying, and I think I was so clueless I didn't even know to be like upset or like stressed out yet.
Yeah.
So I was just like
having a good time.
Dude, what is her deal? And Becky was
funny.
like so stressed out. And now if that would happen to me now, I would be like, oh my gosh, my head is exploding, you know? But at the time, I was like, so naive.
Yeah.
And now in my infinite wisdom at 25 years old, right?
Yes, exactly. And how old was Becky then when you guys went?
She was 22, I think.
Okay.
So she was still young too.
Yeah.
21 or 22, yeah. So it was kind of crazy, honestly, but it was a really good experience. And then we met. I was just so glad to be with Becky, because I definitely would not have been like okay if I was by myself. But
yeah,
we met one of our best friends now, Patty, who was in Becky's wedding with me, and she's amazing. She's from Mexico. Heard that name. Yeah. And it was just really cool. Like, it was such a crazy experience to have it like a freshly 18-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. But I was like so different than I am now. Or even when you met me, that I feel like I was just like coasting through life. Like, what is going on? How did I get here?
Honestly. I mean, same. I think that's a funny part of, like, even in college, I feel like now looking back on it, I feel that way. Like, I was just coasting. I could do whatever I wanted. I could do my classwork. I could not. I could go out. I could do, well, you know, like, I don't know. Like, there was just the amount of freedom. I just was really, and now I just, like, have a job and I have to work, and life like, feels much more mundane.
If you go out on a Friday night, you need all day on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I feel that too. And especially in college, I think too, I like took so much for granted because I wouldn't go to class a lot.
Yeah, I mean, same. I skipped kind of a lot. But it was like, I mean, okay, I will say the one cool thing I think about that in college, it's on you. Yeah. And like, you know, I can't just like, if I fucking don't do my work or skip something, you know, a real life thing, then it just sucks and I'm way behind. But like in college, you could just catch up. It was on you. You could do your work later.
Yeah. If you know it by the exam. And if you don't, then that's your problem type of thing. But yeah, it was just so funny because I especially when I had that class with Krista too, she would be like, are you going to class this morning? And I would be like, no, I don't think so.
No, thanks.
Not today.
Well, and I feel like too, like I skipped a little bit in high school, but not until like later in high school. And I feel like this was really the time you could without immediate consequence. Skipping in high school is like bad and you get a call home. But this is the first time you're independent enough to just like be able to actually make the choice. Like, hey, you know, I'm kind of feeling like a self-care day, or I'm just feeling like a fucking idiot and I don't want to go to like whatever it is.
Like if you can handle it or not. It's so funny because when I would skip class in college, I would always tell my mom because she was always the type of mom who in middle school and high school, she would be like, do you want to stay home with me? Like, let's just do something today. Or like I remember distinctly in middle school, I got called down to the office and they said, your mom needs to talk to you. She's outside. And I was so worried that something bad had happened. And I go out there and she was like,
play hooky.
I'm driving to go see your sister play soccer. Do you want to come with me? And I was like, oh my gosh, Mom. I thought somebody died.
That's so funny because my parents were totally the opposite.
So funny.
I also like barely got sick, so I really never missed school.
Yeah.
Although I did have like a lot of dental appointments, but other than that, like I swear, I was always like I never missed school. Mm-hmm. And so then, and like it did feel like I was doing something wrong if I missed school, especially in middle school. Then in high school, like I feel like as soon as you can drive, it was like you could kind of skip, and if you really wanted, and I wouldn't skip a ton. Because I also wasn't like I wasn't an amazing student. Like I kind of needed to be in class to learn. But yeah. And I mean, we would like, I remember specifically the very first time that I skipped class was in geometry class. And we had this teacher's assistant, I guess is that's what they're called in college. Like a student teacher.
Yeah.
who was like our student teacher in algebra, and then the next year she actually got hired at the school and was my geometry teacher. And I've never been a math girl. It doesn't make sense in my head. Yeah. And algebra was like the last straw. Then when we got to geometry, nothing made sense to me. And our TA our student teacher, who I was not expecting to get hired at our school, was like kind of a bitch. And then I had her as my full-blown teacher, and I just hated her, and she didn't know how to explain math to someone whose brain just like didn't get it.
That's the worst.
And so I just really didn't like her. And then my friend Shakia was just like, hey, like, let's skip. And so we went to McDonald's, and because I like I think we skipped an exam too. Like it was like something I was like, but I wasn't prepared for it. Like I knew I was going to get a bad grade. So we left and we went to McDonald's. And meanwhile, our teacher had like gotten in some type of car accident or something happened to her. So then when I came back to class and was like ready to retake the exam, she had a neck brace, and she was also in just like the worst mood ever. And she was like, I know you skipped. And I was like, like, what have I done? But that didn't stop me from skipping again. So, but yeah, but it's so different. Like in college, it's more just like you make it up on your time. I was a much better student in college because almost it's like on you to do it and to care about it.
It's so funny too because in college, I feel like after you get through those like, what are they called? General studies courses or whatever, then you really are interested in what you're studying. Right. And so those classes I wouldn't miss, or if I did miss them, I would miss them because I knew I was ahead. Right. And so I could or whatever. It didn't, totally. It like doesn't matter. But that's also the difference too, because I feel like and I started in engineering and I graduated in creative writing.
I love that. So I forgot about that.
Because the first couple of years, it was like the first year, I was trying so hard in my classes and I hated them. And then one of my engineering professors had me stay after, and I was like, great, I did something really bad. Oh, no. And she was like, why are you in engineering? And I was like, I don't know. Like, that's what my high school teachers told me I should be, and, whatever. And she was holding one of my lab reports, and she was like, do you really like to write? And I was like, yep, yes. That's what I like to do. And she was like, I think that's what you should do. And then she wrote my letter of recommendation into the creative writing program.
Hey, that's actually pretty cool.
It was really cool. And they said they had never gotten a letter of recommendation from an engineering professor, which I thought was kind of funny. But it's also like, it was just like so goofy. Like it just explains to like my life.
Yeah, like definitely. And of course you were all over the place.
Yeah, like absolutely the two polar opposites. And when I tell people now, they're like, oh, she just didn't know what engineering was. And I was like, no, I knew. I just realized I didn't like it,
Exactly. But that's funny. But yeah, but still, like in my head, you were always just more grown up. I guess even looking back on this, like I still kind of think so. And like I especially thought so when you bought your place. Like I was like, wow, she's like investing in a property. Like I won't be doing that for literally years to come. Like,
you're so sweet.
But seriously, like that's like that's like a big girl purchase for sure.
Yeah, I was really proud of it. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was like really, it was a big deal for me. And like it's funny because my sisters both bought their own houses as well, too, before they got married and stuff. And I just thought that was so cool because I was like, my mom is like such a strong, independent woman. And she always raised us like, you can do whatever you want. Like, you guys are strong, that type of thing. And it's just cool because when you see that you have an influence like that, it's so much easier to be like so sure of yourself than to like second guess yourself all the time and stuff. And like my family has been so helpful with it. And like it's old, like it's not like it's a new great house or anything. It's just a small condo and it's older, but like it feels so good to like I like redid my cabinets and stuff, and like
that's so cool.
It feels so good to do stuff like that. So
to be able to like do projects like that, like that's awesome.
Come over to my place.
I'm so jealous. Yeah, right. Seriously, definitely.
Seriously.
But that's awesome. It's been a good place for you for the last couple years. Like
I really like it, and like it is starting to get a little small. I feel like I just feel like you always accumulate stuff when you're living places.
Especially if you stay there for a few years.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like perfect for me. It's so nice. And even like with Lincoln and stuff too, it's just so nice to be able to like go right outside and like,
totally.
I don't know. It's really good. It's like a perfect place right now. And when I'm at home, I'm so happy and I feel like so grateful to have a place like that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, especially right now with everything that's going on and having to be stuck at home way more than we would be expecting.
Seriously.
But yeah, I mean, I just feel like that feels so much more like your place.
For sure. And like, it's funny because the beginning of the pandemic was when I did my cabinets.
Nice.
And that was like a huge change because they were like dark wood and then I painted them like a really light gray.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like such a big change to the space. And now when I think back, I'm like, that was the very beginning of everything when I had first gotten furloughed.
Yep.
And I was like, I have so much time. What should I do? And then I remember asking my dad, like, what paint to buy and how do I sand them and all this stuff, you know?
Yes.
And then I did that. And now that feels like so long ago, but it like feels so much more like home when you do stuff like that.
Yeah, you really just make the space yours.
For sure.
It's so funny, though, that you say that because my parents are doing the exact same thing. Like, I don't know what about COVID has really inspired them. These are projects they have wanted to do. Like, we've lived in this house. I say we. I don't live there anymore. But I am still in Madison, so I'm very close. So I go home all the time.
Yeah.
But like they've lived in that house literally since we moved to Madison when I was 8 years old. So for several, like 15 plus years. And it's just so funny. Like they've wanted to do these projects for forever, but they just never had the time. And now, you know, they're just like sitting at home in between those four walls all day long. And so they're like doing all these insane projects.
Yeah.
And my dad's doing them pretty much all himself.
Yeah.
Because he's so like that.
Yeah.
And he is a handy guy for sure. He's one of those dads. But like they're redoing their kitchen. They put down all this new flooring and they're having a blast. And it's so funny to me because it's like this would not have happened if it weren't for.
Right? You just have so much more time. And then I feel like you're at home so much more. That you're just sitting there and you're looking at it all the time and you're like, I'm just going to do it. Yes. And then you start and then you can't stop.
Exactly.
And it's funny because my dad and my family in general are like really handy, crafty people. I'm by far the least handy and the least crafty out of all of them.
Yeah, definitely same.
Yeah. And so like growing up with that, I'm like, oh, I can do whatever. Like I can do all of this. And then when I actually started doing some of it, I was like, I cannot do this.
Dad!
And literally calling him every 5 minutes. I think he came up to Madison twice in like 3 days to go to Menards with me because I didn't know what to get for screws and stuff.
That's classic.
But it's so great because everyone has so much time now and it's been awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the like being positive, you know, right? In 2021. Right. That's the upside of COVID. I was talking about this with my sisters and my mom, like the upside too has been like we've gotten to spend so much more time with each other because everyone's been at home so much, and so that's been great. And like
definitely the silver
projects.
Lining. I know.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because, and I see my parents probably a little bit less now, just with winter and being able to do fewer things outside. But like for a while there, I was seeing my parents maybe even like, more often than I normally would. And they were like, it's honestly great that you can't do anything and you don't have any plans because now we see you all the time.
We know we know we're your second option, but still.
But we'll take it. We'll take what we can get.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and it was fun. And it's just funny. Well, and it's so funny. I feel like I just see myself turning more and more into my parents.
Oh my gosh.
Every day as I'm growing older. And then now when I see them and I'm spending time with them, it's just funny too because like we're so much more similar. I'm also just getting older, so I see them more as friends than parents.
Right, yeah.
And that's such a funny shift because, you know, like now I'm like, oh, I miss them. Whereas like in high school, I was like, I can't wait to get out of here.
It's so funny now too so my sisters both just had babies and my brother has a little boy, and so my parents are grandparents now and multiple times over. And it's so funny too to see them with little kids because now much more I've pictured them with us when we were little and how like now we're all kind of adults and stuff. And it's just so goofy because I'm just like, wait, now I'm supposed to be an adult and I still go home like after my foot surgery. I just had foot surgery in October. And when I went home after my foot surgery, you know, like my mom was taking care of me and stuff. And like, I felt like a little kid again. And like DJ would come to visit at home and I would be like, oh, my boyfriend's coming over.
I know, isn't that so funny? Even like I've had like a couple friends who have stayed at home over the last couple of years, like while they figure out their next move, and like asking your parents for permission to do something, or like it's just like such a silly feeling now because we've been so independent for so long.
Seriously. And you're just like not used to living with anyone.
Yeah.
But especially like moving back in with your parents, even for a period of time. I was like I love them and I know they love me, but after a while we were like,
we're getting on each other's nerves.
Boy.
Yeah, I remember you said that. I think I would be the same way. I actually haven't technically lived at home since like the summer after freshman year.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't, like I've stayed there on occasion, but
gone back and whatever.
I haven't been there for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
And I can imagine like, plus I even see it when I'm just at home for like a little while too long. I like revert back into my teenage self. I don't want to be that person, but I do it. I can't stop it. Like it just happens.
It does. And it's such a role that you can so easily slip into. And especially when I couldn't walk, like these are extremes, right? Yeah. But I couldn't walk and I couldn't drive. So it was even more so like not just my teenage self, like my 14, 15-year-old self where I was like, Mom, can you take me to the bookstore?
Right. Exactly.
I want to get a book, And then she's asking you what book. And it's like, I don't care now that she knows what book I'm reading. It's just like the fact that I'm telling her, which I would have texted her if I was getting a book anyway. But it's like the dependency, I think.
100%.
Like, I feel like we're such independent people that when we have to be dependent on someone else, it's kind of scary.
It is. And it just feels so... Like it just feels like childish.
Yeah. And it makes me, honestly, it made me feel bad. And then on top of that, I was job hunting.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
While I was at home. And so then it was also like, and this wasn't from them, it was just in my own mind, but like anytime I would be doing something besides applying for jobs on my computer, I would feel the need to justify it. Like, I'm only watching Gilmore Girls for 20 more minutes, and then I'm going to apply for 20 more jobs. And my mom was like, that's fine.
Yeah,
like,
do you?
Yeah. But it was in my head where I was like, I'm a loser.
No, I totally get that. Well, like I was still, it's okay. And that's so true. I'm still at a point in my life where like, even though I see my parents a lot more as friends than parents, I also still feel like I need to prove something to them or like...
Well, I think it's just like you don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah.
And you want to make them feel proud.
Yes. Yeah. I want them to be proud of me.
Yeah. And that's what I think that's so key too. And I think that kind of is very telling of our relationships with our parents.
Yeah.
Like we are so, like we respect them so much and they've given so much to us that we just want to make them proud. And I think... sometimes we forget we just make them proud by
existing,
doing what we're doing and being good people and stuff,
right.
like
totally.
I felt like when I lost my job, like I was just so embarrassed and I felt so bad. And I was like, I just don't want them to be disappointed in me. And then I talked to my mom and my dad a lot and they were like, there's a global pandemic.
Given
like
the circumstances you're
doing fine.
Yes.
Like you'll be fine, that type of thing. And I think we're so much harder on ourselves than the people who love us are.
Totally.
And I think it's like so important to remember that sometimes too.
Well, and it's so funny because in the back of my head, like those are the people I'm thinking about when I'm being hard on myself.
Yeah.
But they would never do the same thing to me ever. Like it's not,
We're always our own biggest critics.
Totally.
I've talked to DJ about this a lot too because with working so much and stuff, and then with me getting my foot surgery and being at home, and he was working a ton, and then driving to Fort Atkinson all the time, and I was like, I don't want you to be exhausted all the time, and he was like, I just want to see you, and I get that people always want to be around. No, I'm just kidding. But no, he was like wearing himself out trying to do all of it, and I was like, I don't like. No one who loves you wants you to wear yourself out like that, like it's gonna be fine. And I think especially now we need to remember that because there's so many stressors.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I think like if the most you can do is just like get out of bed and take your dog for a walk, like
you get an A+. Like
that's great for today.
Yes. Well, and it's funny, I mean, because I was in a similar situation. Like I got furloughed at the beginning of COVID too, but then like I slowly started working my hours back up.
Yeah.
But job searching during this time, I mean, I'm like, I know you had kind of a hard time. Like it was just like places weren't even responding. Like, it's not even like a normal job search, which is hard enough.
Right.
But like, it's in the middle of a pandemic when half the people who say they're hiring like
aren't
even. Yeah. Like they can't.
And then all of the interviews are either on Zoom or you go and you wear a mask and it's so awkward and
yeah,
you're like, you don't know what, and then
you're sweaty.
Just like, seriously. Yeah. I think I told you and Kayla this when we had drinks one time, but I went to an interview during COVID and I wore a dress.
I think you did tell me this.
And I was really sweaty and we were sitting on wooden stools and they were like the raw wood. And
yes,
my dress was coming up in the back and I slid off the stool at the end of it and I got the biggest sliver in my butt cheek. It was the worst thing. And then you can't like make a face or anything.
Yeah.
Because you're in an interview. And so I just like looked like so perplexed. And then I was just like, turned it into a question like, so when should I expect to hear from you? Meanwhile, I have wood in my butt cheek.
Literally. Yeah, you totally told me that story.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
Yeah. Well, and even just like being in an interview wearing a mask, I get so sweaty. I get sweaty during an interview, period. I'm nervous.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm nervous sweating.
Interviews are exhausting to me. They're like a workout.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like when I'm done with them, I'm so physically like I just need a sec or like
close your door
couple
in
hours.
Your car,
yeah.
And you're just like, oh man.
Yeah.
I'm done. But yeah, no, that's the other thing too. I feel like during it, and I think you can attest to this too with like being furloughed and stuff. And then COVID.
Yeah.
My anxiety has just been insane.
Yeah.
And then when you're trying to interview with that, it's like everything is running through your head at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And you're just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be terrible. So I think that adds another layer onto it. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, can they tell I'm interviewing from my parents' house?
Yep.
Can they tell I have a cast on my leg right now?
Do they know I can't walk?
Me to go get something I don't have right here?
1 second, I just have to grab my crutches.
My knee scooter. Yes. I'm going to scoot into the other room.
Hilarious. But yeah, I mean, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, and I was like chilling for a sec while collecting unemployment. And then I was like, I can't keep doing this. And luckily for me, I was able to just work my hours back up until it took a fucking long time, but now I'm basically full time again. But yeah, I mean, and on top of, and even like I was looking for freelance work when I first got furloughed, just anything, just because at first you just feel so defeated. Yeah. Like I remember I got the call and my boss was like, yeah, this is happening. Like we just don't have any incoming money. Like I just literally, I have to do this.
Right.
And like, even though I wasn't technically like fired, like it's not like this was a reflection of my performance. Yeah. I just felt like a shit person. Like I was like, what the fuck? This is not supposed to happen to me. Yeah. It just felt bad.
Isn't that crazy though, that we feel bad?
Right.
Because of something so much bigger.
So uncontrollable. Yeah. Right.
And we feel like a failure because someone, can't sustain their business in a global pandemic. Like that doesn't make any sense. Right. Like logically. I've talked to my mom about this so much, but it doesn't make any sense logically when I talk about it. But you just feel so bad.
You just do. Yeah.
And then it's so funny because during that time, it's always like, should I try and get freelance stuff? I could probably make more by just collecting my unemployment, but then I felt lazy, you know? So
same.
And it's hard, and I think the answer is that there's no right answer because you just have to do whatever you can do.
Totally. And like, but that's so hard to realize in the moment.
Yeah, and like, especially with me and you, I feel like we're such like go-getter type of people, and we would never expect ourselves to be in this situation.
Right. I mean, and like, I don't know. I feel like we're both career driven. So yeah. And it's not to say that it's going to be that way my whole life, but I'm young and that's what I want to focus on right now. Yeah. And then when it's kind of just ripped out from under me, right? Then it's like my whole world was turned upside down.
Seriously.
And even searching for freelance work, it was like impossible. No one was hiring. No one was accepting pitches, anything. No one had budgets for outside freelancers anyways.
Well, and it's so hard because have you ever been on Upwork?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So I put my profile
I've been on all Upwork. The things.
Yeah. And then people would reach out to me for the weirdest stuff. And I would be like,
No. Yeah.
No,
I mean, right, exactly.
I don't even know if this is legit, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah, there are some very strange inquiries on there.
So weird.
Mhm.
Like, I can't even say on here, but it's like just those things you'd rather not talk about.
Yes, and you deserve to be picky. Like, no, I'm not actually going to do that. I have not reached that low point in my life where I'm going to accept
Maybe at some point, but not right now.
Your offer. Yeah, but totally. But I'm so glad. I'm happy for you because like the last time I spoke to you, you were just about to maybe get this new job and you're loving it. And I'm so glad.
Oh my gosh. Love it so much. It's really nice. And I know I was talking to you and James about this, but it's so nice to feel like you're using all of your brain to its full potential in a day. And I said, like, this kind of takes us back to what we were talking about school, but I forgot how nice it feels to learn something new.
Yes.
And ironically, I work a ton with our engineering department now to write blogs.
Full circle.
It's so funny. But to write blogs and stuff about like our manufacturing process and things. And it's just so great. Like, it's such like a crossover of the worlds. And I feel like I'm learning so much. And the people I work with are really nice, which it's been a long time since I've worked with people that like I genuinely felt really connected to.
And makes such a huge difference.
So much. And I really love it. It's so good. It's like, seriously, starting 2021 off on like a bright note with like a good job in some place that I feel like I'll stay for a long time.
Hell yeah.
So,
Oh, I love that for you. I'm so happy.
So good.
And it's funny that you say that because I was actually saying something similar to James the other day. Just like I miss learning things. I miss like, and part of me, like I miss the most basic, like I miss sitting down in a lecture and taking notes. Like there's like a part of me that wants to do that. Maybe not 5 days a week again, but like I kind of want to go take a class or just learn something new. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And I miss it.
So I think that's so important. And I would not have said this a while ago, but I really love school. Like I was the biggest nerd and I loved it. And I always read still now. But my mom took a pottery class at UW Whitewater last year. And she loved it. And it was just for fun. But she, you learn something.
Yeah, you're building a new skill.
It's like so great. So if you want to take a class,
oh my God,
I will take whatever with you. I think it's just so fun. And like, even if it's just a stupid class like pottery or whatever, it doesn't matter because it's just like something new you're learning and you're adding. And it's like, diversifying your portfolio.
Absolutely.
So fun.
Adding a new skill to your wheelhouse. That's so important. I would love to do that. We're penciling it in. We're going to take a class.
What should we take?
I don't know. The thing is, I would actually take a pottery class. I took pottery in high school. And it was kind of just like, I mean, our high school had a really awesome art program.
Okay.
So our art department was super cool. It had all of the coolest teachers and people loved it. And we had a ton of things because we had pottery, we had photography, like you could do it all.
Yeah.
And those were just like the fun classes. Like if you get to pick kind of an elective, those are fun. But I took pottery on a whim and my teacher, his name is Mr. Herman, like he was one of the most influential teachers I've ever had. And I wasn't even that great at pottery, but like I remember we would even just be sitting there and everyone loved him, but especially me. No. But he was so awesome. Like I remember we would sit there before class and he would just like, demonstrate what we were doing that day on like a random hunk of clay. And he'd be like, so you're going to do some of this. And he was like, you know what? And I actually don't like that mark I just made or whatever it was. And he was like, and that's okay. Like that's part of the process. Or like, and just like the way he would talk about things, like that sounds so basic.
No, but it's true because at that age, I feel like you're learning so much about yourself and about the world. And having someone like that, I had a teacher like that, Miss Lindy. She was like my yearbook and newspaper and English teacher.
Love those always. Yeah. Those are always great teachers.
And it's so funny because there are a lot of people who didn't care for her and didn't care for her style, but she was so real. And she was the type of person who was like, this is how it's going to be in the real world. So I'm not going to baby you a little bit. But she had like the best nuggets of like knowledge and information that she would just give to you and then let you sit with them. And I would be like, wow.
Amazing.
I still think about some of the stuff she says all the time now.
Yeah, same. Well, and I even know, because I don't know if he still does it anymore. I want to say he's retired, but like a couple of people, even when they were done with school, like well into college, he did like a summer pottery camp, and people would still go because people just loved him. He was so awesome.
Well, and pottery is so fun.
It's really fun. It's like therapeutic.
Seriously.
Yeah.
We did last Christmas, not this Christmas, but last one. My parents gave all of us kids like pottery class for our Christmas present. And so we all went, and it was like a family activity, and it was so fun. It was before the baby. Actually, that day was when my sister told us that she was pregnant.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I always remember.
A great day.
It was so fun. And we made these stupid little bowls, and they're terrible and stuff. But I have mine in my bedroom. DJ has his in his bathroom. It's amazing. So great. And it was just so fun. And
that's what I like about pottery too. You don't really have to be good at it.
No.
It doesn't matter.
And it's the things that are really good and high end and stuff are never symmetrical or perfect or whatever.
So then you're automatically good.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well then we're gonna take a pottery class. It's gonna be amazing.
I really think we should.
Yeah, I think so too.
It'd be so fun.
I need to go and do something like that.
Anything.
Yeah, anything.
I will wear a mask for 12 hours straight if that's what they want.
Seriously.
Just to do something.
I will sit inside the kiln. It doesn't matter. Just let me go to this fucking class.
Sam's going to be really tan the next time we see her.
Oh, but yeah. Okay. Well, that's something we should talk about because you're new. Well, okay. You're already an aunt, but you have these two beautiful new babies, and that's so exciting.
Oh my gosh. It's been so great, and it's so funny because this is going to sound so cheesy. I don't even know if I should say it, but I've told my sisters this, and I really think my sisters and I have gotten closer since they had babies because I think
really?
You just realize what's so much more important.
Sure.
And we're all nicer to each other.
Yeah.
We don't get in stupid fights because there's nothing to be upset about. We have these sweet little precious angels. And I told my sisters, I was like, it's so crazy because I didn't really think I was that much of a baby person.
Yeah.
And I always kind of was like, oh, I'll just be the fun, crazy, cool aunt, whatever. We always joke about that. But I have never loved something so much in my whole life. They are so tiny and adorable and so cute. And Lottie, the older one, Becky's, is getting to be just the goofiest, sassiest little girl. She's so cute. And
it's so funny because babies just develop personalities from so young. And
so fast. And it's so crazy too. We've been joking because we say that our family's genes must be really strong because my brother's son is his clone. And then Becky's daughter looks just like her. And now Danny's son looks just like her.
Really?
So I think we just have really strong Meyerhofer genes.
Well, because you guys also all look really similar.
That's what people say.
Yeah, you guys look the same. I swear to God.
But it's been so great. And that's I'm not trying to be super positive here because I know that's annoying, but
no, we're working on that.
Yeah.
That's what okay, also you're not one of those people. You're a good positive person.
Yeah. I would say I'm one of your more probably most positive.
Yeah.
But I wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
There was a time where I was really negative, and I think my parents totally changed my mindset on that because I remember specifically it was middle school to high school, and I would come home and complain about everything, and my mom set this rule up that you can complain about one thing.
Oh my God,
and then
you met
your
quota
have to say
for the day. You're
3
done.
nice things about today. It reminds me of our friend Lauren who does the rose and thorn and stuff.
Yes.
And I think that's so important because it's good to acknowledge this was terrible today, and that's okay to say. And
but now here's the bright side.
Yeah, and that there's always so many things to be happy about, and
yes.
these babies are the most recent thing that I'm obsessed with.
I love
and
it.
so happy about. So. Yeah, it's been good.
That's so fun. And I also just think it's so cute. They're just probably going to grow up and be the best of friends.
I think so,
I'm
too.
so happy for them. And they're
so close
just these
in
little
age.
babies that I haven't even ever met. But I'm so excited for their future.
It's so funny because my neighbor had her little nieces visit the other day. And they wanted to meet me because they saw me outside taking Lincoln for a walk. So she brought them out, and I met them and stuff, and they were staying at their aunt's house for a slumber party because their mom had just had another baby.
Oh.
And I texted my sisters, and I was like, that's going to be Henry and Lottie in a couple years.
Hilarious.
Staying at Auntie Nick's house.
I love it. Oh, and that's going to be so fun for them. I already know you're an amazing aunt.
Oh, I just love them so much, and it's funny, too, because I've learned so much about babies and about Giving birth, which is like,
Yeah, it's like my biggest fear. Giving birth is terrifying
it's
to
like
me.
a crazy thing. And I like, first of all, respect my mom so much more than I ever have after talking to my sisters about this. And then I talked to them, and I'm the kind of person who's always been like, as soon as I can get medicine, give it to me for anything.
Yes.
And they were trying to do like
same.
natural. And then after a while, they were like, nope, let's do it. Put it in now. Because like,
I can't even imagine.
I don't even want to think about it. But the more I learn, I'm like both amazed and very, very frightened.
Oh, totally.
At like what our bodies can do.
I've always found it very scary. Like the fact that we can carry and birth a fucking human being, terrifying.
So crazy.
So crazy. Oh my God. But if it were up to me, I would be out. You put me out, then wake me up when the baby's here. Right? I don't want to be present.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because when other people that I've known that are pregnant, like coworkers or friends or something, they've been like, oh, you can feel the baby kick. I'm like, no.
Oof, yeah, scary.
No, thank you. And then with my sisters, I'm like, all I want to do is feel them kick. And like, I feel so invested in it.
That's like really cool. And I also feel like I have very little experience with, like, I don't have close friends or family members really that have gotten pregnant. So
do you want to babysit them with me?
Yes. I'm not baby proof yet. Like I haven't hung out with a baby really ever. So I don't know like what to do with them or like how to keep them safe and alive. Like I feel like I'd be kind of scared.
Everyone is like worried about that, to be honest. No, and it's funny because even when you do babysit, like I babysat a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
But they're never that little as like 2 days
like
old.
Fresh. Yeah.
Like I held them when they were like 2-3 days old, and they were
that's so cool.
The tiniest little things, and I was like so worried I was gonna break them or something,
right.
you know? And it's funny because I think everyone feels that way, and it's just only some people admit it. But
totally.
Yeah. It's so crazy. And now it's also crazy how fat, and like Henry's still a baby, like he doesn't have too much of a personality yet, but Lottie is really like, she really has a personality, and she is gonna be super sassy.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I guess I don't know if this would have anything to do with like personality development and stuff, but like technically like girls mature faster and stuff and usually speak earlier. So I'm not surprised that she's first.
Yeah. And I mean, she's older too, but I think just in general, there's like, you know, they seem so close in age with like, how old is she? Like 4 months, I think.
Okay.
And like, well, she might be more than that. I don't know. I can't remember anymore. But like 4 months and a month or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
That seems so close in age, right? But they grow so fast.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen them for 2 weeks because we've been quarantining since CJ's sister came to visit. And then, well, not quarantining, but just like away from the babies.
Yes.
And then when they send videos or something like that, it's so crazy. And like, I'm going to see them tomorrow. We're going for a walk outside, so I won't be like inside with them. But like, they're just going to be so much bigger.
Totally.
They just grow so fast.
And I feel like it's just one of those things, like at that age, you can just tell the difference so much. Like it makes a huge difference when they.
It really does.
Yeah.
The other really funny thing is that Lottie has like a bald spot because she has a lot of hair, and where they like lay their head a lot, there's like a little bald spot, and I think it's so cute.
That's the cutest thing I have ever
It is so funny. And they both the babies were born with hair, and I think it's so funny because usually I think babies, like I just picture them as bald.
Right.
But they both had so much hair.
That is always so funny to me.
It's so cute.
When they just pop out like a full head of hair.
And then also like all of the like baby accessories that you never think about, and no one probably really needs them, but like everybody has them.
Yes.
All this stuff where you're like, oh, that's a boobaloo or that's a dakata, and you're like, why don't these just have normal names?
Yeah,
like this is a pillow to set a baby in so it doesn't fall off the couch.
And
that's
babies
all
can't say it anyway, so we might as well call it something that makes sense to us.
I think that's so funny.
Yeah, that's actually hilarious. And that's so funny. Like, you know, that's an aisle at the store I never go down. It's the baby aisle. You know, like I haven't.
Yeah. Even now, I'm like, I don't know what size of clothes to get them.
Well, especially like in 2 weeks, they're gonna be
done with that. I'm gonna wait till they're older and then buy them like some nice Vans, and then they'll appreciate it more than baby Vans,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
I do love baby shoes though.
Oh
Like
my
baby shoes are
gosh.
always the cutest little things.
They're so cute.
So adorable.
I picked out Lottie's outfit for Christmas Day because we went to my sister's house for Christmas Eve. And Becky was like, do you want to help me pick out her outfit for tomorrow? And I was like, yes. And it's so fun. It's like dressing a doll.
Totally.
Except for then they like spit up on it and you have to change it in like 2 hours anyway.
Outfit change. Hilarious. Did each of your sisters like know?
No. So Danny knew. They did like just a little gender reveal with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so they knew that they were having a boy, and Becky and Spencer didn't find out. But Becky really thought that she was having a girl. And it's
Really?
so funny because Becky and I have talked about this a lot. I think Becky has like a sixth sense or like a premonition type of thing.
Yeah.
Because she just like, I feel like she always knows stuff like that. And she thought she was having a girl, and she did. And
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's so funny. But they're really perfect for them. Like Danny is going to be such a good boy mom. And like Sam's going to teach him how to golf a ton. And Becky and Spencer are just going to be great girl parents. And like,
Oh, I'm so excited for them. That's so great.
it's really exciting. And
I feel like it's so fun that they kind of also get to raise babies at the same time.
for sure. And I think it's helpful too.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people go through this and they're like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then they're sisters, so you can literally talk about anything.
Yes. Yeah,
And
right. Exactly.
Yeah, there's like no boundaries.
Mhm.
And that's nice for them too, I feel like. And sometimes I'm sitting in on the conversation, I'm like, that's disgusting. I did not want to know that.
Yeah. Man, that's like, I know. That's a whole nother
So
ball game. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
But
But
that's awesome.
it does make me feel like there's such a big age gap between us.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like that's also probably a reason that you grew up so fast.
probably
Yeah.
they are very mature.
Yeah.
Like they matured really fast and
And you guys have always been close.
very close. Yeah. And I think too, yeah, I mean, and from the time I was young too, my mom always said like I was always growing up faster and doing things earlier because when you have 3 older siblings, like that's what you do, you know?
Totally.
But the age gap seems so big now
Yeah.
because they are moms and it's so weird.
Well, because that's just like such a big life jump.
Yeah.
Like that's such another stage of
Like
Yeah.
I remember when Danny first bought a house and then Danny got a dog and I was like,
wow, yeah.
Man,
exactly. So much
a
responsibility.
dog. That's a lot of, like, that is a living being.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, she has a baby.
Yeah.
Those can die
Exactly.
so quickly. Be careful.
Yeah, and they last way longer than a dog. You know, like way.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh, but that's funny. But yeah, I mean, that's so awesome. And like, I don't also, you know, like I'm an only child. So like, I don't have, that's the thing. I really just don't have people in my life that aren't, you know, my parents who of course are miles ahead of me at all times because they're old. But like, I don't have anybody like close enough in age where like, it's like, oh, that's what's next for me maybe.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
think
just kind
that's
of a
also
crazy.
too. That's a really funny thing that you mentioned that actually, because I remember like first coming into your guys' friend group
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, they're so close. And like,
Yeah.
I got close with you so fast.
Yeah.
And I also think that's part of it. Like your friends are like sisters to you.
Yeah.
Because you don't have siblings. And that's kind of honestly something I hadn't experienced before. And it's so nice. Like it's something I love about you because I feel
Yeah.
like you're so like
Oh,
attached to all of us. And I'm attached
Totally.
to you, you know?
Well, and I think, yeah, like, of course I do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a very small family and I love my family, but then I
Yeah.
have to go and kind of find that somewhere else. And my friends,
Yeah.
they mean the world to me.
Yeah.
So, like, but it's
Yeah.
funny that you say that because we get that a lot. Like, you know, plus we've been, like, the friend group that we essentially absorbed you
Yeah.
into, we've been friends since, like, middle school.
Yeah, so long.
Yeah.
It's so funny because sometimes I think about that and I'm like, there's so many other friend groups that would have been like, nah,
Yeah.
nah, no new people. No, we're good.
Yeah.
And you guys are all so nice
Oh, thanks.
and so welcoming. And it was so
God.
funny because I remember too meeting like Claire and Zoe for
Yeah.
the first time. And then we all went to Vegas together.
Yeah. Which was an absolutely insane experience.
It was crazy, but it was so fun.
It
And,
was
like,
really fun.
everyone is just, all of your friends are just so nice. It's just such a good group of girls that I really feel so thankful to like be a part of.
Yay!
Because you guys are all so sweet. Yeah. But
Well,
also crazy.
Well, yes. And it's funny, too, because I think some of that, you know, the fact that we have been friends for so long, and also we're like, because we will, I think all of us will be friends for the rest of time. Like, I genuinely believe that. But it's funny because I think that because of that, you know, we're not even all the same. We're very different people.
Extremely different.
Yeah.
I think that's also, too, what's like really cool about the friend group is like before I moved in with you guys, I had never lived with girls that I could be like, dude, Lauren, clean your dishes up, and they wouldn't be upset, right?
Yeah.
It's much more of like a close bond because it's like we aren't the same. It is like sisters where you're like, we have to love each other.
Yes.
We're not the same people, but we love it, you know, that type of thing.
Unconditionally. Like, well, you know, with a few conditions. But
we can be mad at each other for a few days, and then we'll be fine. Do the dishes, right?
Yeah.
But no, I think, and that's what I loved about it too, because everyone is so different.
Yeah.
You know, from our life experiences to our beliefs to our religions.
Totally.
Like, everyone is so different, but like, it just works so well. And I think everyone is just so kind, and that's why. And like, they have everybody's best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And it's just fun.
It is
it's
so
just
fun.
a silly goose time.
It is. That's my favorite phrase. I love to have a silly goose time. And I'm so glad we could do this. This was a very silly goose time.
This was so fun.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
We're going to have to do it again sometime because you're a great guest. Like, I'm having a blast right now.
Me too.
Yay!
And pottery class.
Hell yeah.
Maybe we should try to spin pottery as we're making a podcast.
Oh my God, that would be absolutely insane. Actually, that would be really fun, kind of. We can bring our mics. Or maybe we should buy a pottery wheel. We should buy our own. I wonder if we can Facebook Marketplace it or something.
I'm sure we could.
Yeah.
I think you can buy them.
Except then, where do we take our work to get fired? Because I'm not buying a kiln. That's where I draw the line, I think.
You know what? My brother-in-law's family has a kiln.
Perfect.
Seriously.
Oh my God,
I think
they do. Perfect. Amazing.
Yeah. There we have it.
It's set.
What should we call it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Pot and Pod. With Sam and Nick.
And we can smoke before. It'll be perfect. Oh my God. Then I think it would take me way longer to actually make something.
I feel like I would be like focusing so hard on making a pottery that I'd be like, anyway, what were we saying?
Yeah. Oh, well, hey.
It's also not like a very nice sounding thing. It's very
That's
wet.
true. And probably loud.
Yeah. And
It's
like
been a long
sloppy.
time since I've like thrown something on a wheel.
Oh, yeah, thrown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that the lingo that you say? Well, okay, but we do have to do that. Maybe also that can be something after we do our class. We can do another episode
Fun.
and discuss.
Yes.
Plus, we'll have hopefully more freedom then, and we'll be able to discuss more things because we'll actually be out in the world.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
We can go back to being goofy again.
Yeah.
On the streets of
in
Madison.
public.
In public. Embarrassing ourselves in public instead of private.
Yes.
Yeah.
We miss that. We're so good at it, and it's been taken away from us.
Really the best thing of mine. I'm so good at it.
You are.
It's a talent. Really. Sweating in bars.
Yes. It comes naturally, whether
really
you
does.
like it or not. Well, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And this was a blast. And thank you guys so much for listening. And I will chat with you guys again next week. Bye.